Hi, everybody. It's Miss Celeste here. I'm a professor for ECE 602. We are now in week 3, part 12 of our clips and course objectives. So this is the last video for week 3. We are almost to the end, so bear with me as I go through some of these areas in a little bit more detail. Before we get started, though, just want to make sure that you are completing the assignments of week 3 and making sure that that practicum has either gotten started, you have set me your locations, so those can be approved before you start. And then, of course, just making sure that you're reading the practicum portfolio part that also needs to be submitted, in addition the reflection as well. Okay. All right. So tonight we're going to talk a little bit about supporting families with problem solving. We're going to talk about healthy expressions. We're going to talk about coping skills, and of course, problem solving. So in spite of the cultural differences in how we teach children to express feelings, it's important that children be allowed to feel them, most importantly. The first 2 years of life are important in socializing a child to feel or not feel. Children suffer when adults refuse to accept their feelings. Feelings are important to really allow them to be in touch with their, experiences, emotions, and also their mental health. So we really have to acknowledge the feelings. We have to spend time talking about the feelings. We have to definitely bring them part of our lessons and within our classroom, most importantly, because those are your opportunities to also let them know that feeling a certain way is okay and expressing it is definitely okay. And it's just being a space where they can feel comfortable and an open space where they can share. And so when we really give those opportunities to children within our classroom, there's so much growth that happens, within that child and also within our whole classroom, because I think feelings affect everybody within that environment. Because it's also important to acknowledge how others are feeling and why they're feeling that way, and just kind of having those open conversations. It also builds that sense of confidence for them to even talk about how they feel, which is a whole experience in itself. It also helps with their mental health and processing their feelings, and also knowing that others care about how they're feeling. So healthy expressions, it all starts by expressing the differences among 3 things: the feelings themselves, the expressions of those feelings, and the actions based on those feelings. It is never inappropriate to feel whatever or how or any way that you feel. That message should be given to children loud and clear and often. However, it's sometimes, inappropriate to express those feelings. And part of the socialization process is to understand when it is appropriate to express feelings and when it's not. I think it's really, really important to have those conversations as often as possible. I think that if you go and prepare your environment with allowing others, to express themselves, allowing those expressions to be, talked about often, discussed, finding other solutions, it just really allows children to feel more comfortable to talk about their feelings. I think the social emotional aspect is a topic that is now being a little bit more of a conversation than, say, it was before. And we are acknowledging feelings and the emotional growth that is happening, especially with young children when they're learning self-regulate, and also manage all those feelings that maybe they've never felt before. And so it's important to just be sensitive through that process, especially when you're teaching young children, or any children for that matter, but just being sensitive to that individual need that does need to be addressed and cared about in a very sensitive way. Coping skills. So coping skills are helping children express their mixed feelings, but it can be kind of fearful at times for them, right? Fear, of course, is a powerful feeling. And this section of coping skills gives a variety of ideas about how to help children deal with fears, and anger can be useful in some aspects. When I say that, I mean by it's okay to be upset, it's okay to be angry, it's okay to acknowledge what's making you angry, right? It's okay to acknowledge what you don't like and what you do like. Those are all okay to feel, but obviously it's how you express them, how you treat others, how you respond. That's the learning opportunities that you have as teachers within your classroom with these children, because we also have to remember they all come from different environments, and the way that they cope in their other environments could be very different on how they cope within your classroom. So again, I would make this a lesson. I would make this part of the classroom and part of the conversation as often as possible. And that's just also simply asking children how they're feeling, how their day was, because that also can open a door to many other shareable moments that they want to elaborate about. So just kind of opening that conversation can be just as useful and helpful to all children. Now let's talk a little bit about problem solving. So teaching problem solving is when children learn to solve problems by communicating in a give and take negotiating way. So they feel less frustrated and have less need to try to get their way by using anger. So it's important that, again, within those moments that can be challenging for some children, allowing them to go through that process of negotiating or finding other opportunities to share, or kind of going through that process with them is helpful for them in the long run. Because right now we're really building that foundation. We're really building those coping skills. We're building those problem solving skills. We're really building upon that. And how magical is that you are part of that? And that's how I want you to look at this experience for children, is you have such an opportunity to impact their problem solving. And that is a big deal because they're going to go through many situations that are frustrating, and opportunities to negotiate, and they will find it less frustrating when they're able to work through it. And if you are able to really lay that foundation or be a contributing factor to that process, I find that to be super magical. So again, thank you so much. This is our last clip here for week 3. I hope this has been really fun, to learn a little bit more about our course objectives and kind of dive deep into different areas, within the classroom, and some great tools that possibly you can use. Again, all classrooms look different. All children are different. So my suggestions are just suggestions always. Because I don't work one-on-one with those specific children, you would know best on how to approach their learning, okay? So please just remember that. But thank you, and I will see you in week 4, which is our last week. But until then, see you soon. Thanks.